Okay, you know the feeling. The cabin door shuts, you hear that announcement, and you get that little jolt of panic. Did I remember to switch my phone to airplane mode? And you start to wonder what would actually happen if I forgot. I mean, that's the big fear, right? The one question that probably crosses every flyer's mind at some point. Are we all just one forgotten toggle switch away from total disaster? Well, let's just look at the hard data. That's it. Zero. The number of confirmed commercial plane crashes ever caused by some passenger's phone interference is a big, fat goose egg. Not one. Right? So that brings up the real question. If it's not about keeping the plane from, falling out of the sky, then why on earth is this rule so universal and so strict? Okay, let's really get into it. See, the real reason has nothing to do with some crazy disaster movie scenario. It's actually way simpler. The best way to think about it is this. Your phone isn't a bomb. It's just a really, really loud megaphone. So just imagine the pilot is trying to listen to a super important, super quiet instruction from air traffic control, a critical whisper. Now picture every single one of the 200 passengers on that plane shouting through a megaphone at the exact same time. That complete chaos, that wall of noise, that is what airplane mode is designed to stop. It's all about letting the pilots hear that whisper. But how does your little phone turn into this metaphorical megaphone? Well, the journey from your seat to the pilot's headset is actually a pretty fascinating chain of events. Okay, so here's what's really going on. When you're at 30,000 feet, your phone is totally lost. So it cranks its power up to the absolute max, basically screaming into the void, desperately looking for a cell tower that just isn't there. This huge power boost creates a burst of electromagnetic interference, what the pros call RF noise. And the result? The pilots can hear the super annoying dit-dit-dit-dit buzz in their headphones. You know that sound your phone makes when you put it too close to a speaker? It's exactly like that. Now, one phone doing this is probably just a minor annoyance. But 200 phones all screaming for a signal at max power at the same time, well, that creates what's called a chaotic RF environment. It's not about a single phone causing a problem. It's about the cumulative effect of all of them together messing with the pilot's concentration. But believe it or not, this story doesn't end in the cockpit. The issue is actually twofold, and it involves two completely different government agencies with two very different jobs. Let's break down who they are and what they're worried about. So, on one side, you've got the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. Their whole world is flight safety, what happens inside the plane. They just want to make sure the pilots have a crystal clear line to air traffic control without that annoying dit-dit-dit sound. Then, on the other side, you have the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. Their focus is on the ground. They're worried that hundreds of phones zipping along at 500 miles per hour, all trying to ping multiple cell towers at once, could totally overwhelm and crash the network for everyone below. So when you put all that together, the real picture starts to make a lot more sense. This rule isn't about some dramatic myth. It's really all about two very practical things: communication clarity and network control. So let's just recap the big four reasons. First, pilot sanity. A distracted pilot is not what you want. Second, communication clarity, especially during critical moments like takeoff and landing. And this isn't just a theory. Remember that whole debate about 5G signals near airports? The concern was that some 5G frequencies could mess with a plane's radio altimeter, the very instrument that tells pilots their exact height. It's a perfect example of the FAA's better safe than sorry approach. The third reason is protecting the cell networks on the ground. And finally, it's just a simple precaution in an incredibly complex system. But as our tech gets better and better, does this rule really have to be around forever? Is there a future where we can just keep our phones on from gate to gate? Well, it turns out that future is already here, especially over in Europe. And the solution has a pretty cool name. It's called a picocell. A picocell is basically a tiny, low-power cell tower installed right on the airplane. Your phone connects to it using a weak local signal instead of screaming at the ground. Then, the picocell routes your call or data up to a satellite and back down to Earth. It's brilliant. It solves both problems at once. No interference for the pilots and no chaos for the networks on the ground. So the next time you fly, you'll know. That little toggle switch isn't about preventing a nosedive. It's just about putting down your megaphone so the pilot can hear a whisper. And as tech keeps moving forward, the real question is, how soon until every plane has its own little cell tower, making airplane mode just a thing of the past? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.